I want to touch on the end of season Nigeria Football Weekly Awards, celebrating our best, nearest and dearest. How did our Nigerian players perform over the league? So we're going to be doing a team of the season, of course. I'll do a goalkeeper of the year, defender of the season, a midfielder of the season, a forward of the season, a young player of the season, a breakout player of the season, most improved player of the season, best international player of the season when you consider how people have performed for the national team, and the overall best player and the performance of the season. So without any further ado, let's get cracking, starting with team of the season. So team of the season, so I don't long it out too much, I want to start with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper of the season is Maduka Okoye. Only real competition would have been Stanley Nwabali, but Stanley Nwabali has not had a very good club season, if we're being very honest. He's missed a few games for Chippa United. Obviously, we're sad about what happened to him with his family. These people are humans, so life happens, He lost both of his parents at some point this season, which is honestly devastating. I don't care how strong you are as a person. Emotionally, that is a lot to handle. So we send our thoughts to Nwabali and his family, of course. One thing to also mention is that Okoye, on the other hand, has been Udinese's number one all season. Even when he got injured for a period of time, he came back, reclaimed his number one spot. Udinese are a solid mid-table team in Serie A. It's not often we have a Nigerian goalkeeper playing in the top 5 leagues in Europe, talk less of starting. Enyama had a few seasons for Lille, but even before Lille, he was playing in Israel. When you even think about players like, what's his name at Wolves? Carly Keme, he didn't even play in the Premier League. I think he had one appearance, maybe. So we cannot take for granted how well Maduka Okoye is playing for Udinese. He's been fantastic. Yes, he only got 4 clean sheets because when you play for a mid-table team like, Udinese, you're going to concede some goals. So he conceded 40 goals in 25 games in the league. But in his one appearance in the Coppa Italia, he did keep a clean sheet. So shout out to Maduka Okoye for an exceptional season. He's so emotionally resilient. Like, with everything that's happened to him, he just knows how to keep his head up and continue to just prosper and shine. So really, really impressive for Maduka Okoye. He's the goalkeeper of the year and also in the team of the season as goalkeeper. Left back for the team of the season has to go to Bruno Onyemachi. No real competition for this position. Onyemachi turned the season around from January, especially when he left Boavista. Boavista got relegated from the Portuguese First Division, and he moved in Olympiacos in January and has now won the league as well as the cup double. So what a fantastic turnaround from him. He also established himself as a regular and started a number of games once he settled in. But of course, with the national team, there's now competition because Felix Agu has now been declared eligible to play for the Nigerian national team, and he had a pretty good season for Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga. So watch this space. I think Felix Agu is really someone who's established in the Bundesliga, and will probably even have an eye on taking that starting left back spot, because objectively, if you just look at who's the better player, you have to say Felix Agu is. But of course, Bruno Onyemachi has credit in the bank for what he's done for Nigeria, and he understands our team and our culture and our processes a bit better. So Onyemachi gets the nod for me. Centre backs, one is a no-brainer. Calvin Bassey. Calvin Bassey is the best Nigerian centre back we have right now, and he's definitely flying the flag. He's one of the best in the Premier League for sure. He's been solid all season for Fulham. He got his annual goal against Manchester United, remember? Arguably the future of the Super Eagles defense. When you look at, even the ages of our players and like who could be playing, I tried to do a bit of a future look at what our team could look like by 2030, because let's be honest, Nigerians, we could really miss the 2026 World Cup. But Calvin Bassey, based on his age, he will still be 30 years old by the time the 2030 World Cup comes. So he has to be the future of the national team. You could tell he's growing as a leader. He's more confident in the national team, and he's very, very settled both for club and country. And we've seen that in his performances for both club and country this season. Solid displays for Nigeria against Rwanda and Zimbabwe in particular, and a regular for Fulham who could have qualified for Europe if they had a few more positive results. So fantastic work by Calvin Bassey. Centre back, I'm going to give the other spot to someone who won a title for his club in the form of Igor Ugbo. Yes, we can mention Justekong, but let's be honest. club-wise, there's nothing to write home about. Like playing for a team that just survived relegation in Saudi. We knew he went to get his money grabbed, but we don't blame him because at his age, 32, he's paid his dues, and we know what he did for Nigeria in the AFCON. So Trustekong is still our first choice centre-back pairing, but when we look at performances for club, we have to always give that caveat. Also, Gabriel Osho was in with a chance. Gabriel Osho had a pretty good season this year, establishing himself in the Auxerre back four. They finished league mid-table as well. He also made his Super Eagles debut this season. But I have to give it to Igor Ugbo. He made 34 appearances for Slavia Prague, 25 in the league. And he got his first call up to the national team for the qualifiers in March. And he's also now qualified for the Champions League because Slavia Prague are officially Czech champions yet again. So he's won a league title. He'll be playing Champions League football next season. He's also signed a new contract extension with Slavia Prague. So he's very settled, and it looks like he's going to get the opportunity to showcase what he could do at the biggest stage of them all in the Champions League. And I just think it's been a fantastic season for him, even with him being sidelined for a few games. So congratulations to you, Igor Ugbo. Right back, no debates, all I know. I mean, let's not even talk too much here. He's been solid, in fact, fantastic for Nottingham Forest and Nigeria. He's probably the most famous, out of all our defenders, he has the best rep in Europe and globally based on his performances for club and country. Olaino is just an exceptional player. You can even argue that if he was still eligible for England, they would even have called him up right now, considering who they're calling up at right back at the moment. I mean, when Dan Burns getting called up, then, something's definitely wrong over there. But, every time he's played for Nigeria, even left back, left wing back, right wing back, our position has been amazing. He even scored 2 goals in the league. One was a massive bang as well. The only negative was him getting injured, which was no fault of his own. And I said that if he didn't get injured, he probably would have even been in the Premier League team of the season. That's how amazing Olaino has been this season. So shout out to you, Olaino. In the middle of the park, central midfielders, one of the spots has to go to Rafael Yedika. No debate, not a bad season, regular for Club Brugge. Yes, they failed just at the end to win the league title, but he won the Belgian Cup with Club Brugge. Great achievement. He also scored that fantastic goal for Club Brugge in the Champions League against Manchester City. He established himself as a regular player in the Champions League, and this is a player that his all-around game just looks like he's destined for big, big things. As I mentioned, when Club Brugge played against Atalanta, you should have heard the way Ali McCoist was glazing him on UK TV and talking about how amazing Onyedika is. This is something we've known, but he's definitely who we should be building our midfield around over the next 5-6 years, especially what I mentioned about 2030 World Cup, considering what the one chance we've put ourselves in for the 2026 World Cup. It's not necessarily been as good as last season, but not been bad at all and very solid. So let's see what happens with Rafael Edika in the summer. The other central midfield spot, I have to give it to Frank Onyeka. And Didi had a shout. He got 5 assists in the league, which is no mean feat. But Leicester City were absolutely dreadful, man. I think Didi can't really take too much blame, but he was part of the team. He was injured for a bit as well, with 2 months out of action, but there was no way they could do without him. But I want to give this to Frank Onyeka on the other hand, because it looked like his career was in a bit of a crossroads with Brentford wanting to get rid of him. Next thing you know, he moved to Aalborg for the year. Aalborg at some point went about 6 games without conceding a goal and 7 games unbeaten in the league. He played a major part. He started all of these games. Frank Onyeka, Frank the Tank, was very, very, very solid. And the Bundesliga is a league to not be sniffed at. So I just wanted to say shout out to him. Him not being called up for the national team in March was a very strange decision. But good to see that Eric Chella has rectified that by calling him up for the games in the Unity Cup as well as the friendly game against Russia. Central attacking midfield, we have to give to Alex Iwobi. I would glaze Alex Iwobi all day. Best season ever in the Premier League for Alex Iwobi. Played every single game of the season, scored 9 goals and got 6 assists. 15 goal and assist contributions for Fulham, considering how Fulham are, mid-table team. It's just amazing. Regular for Nigeria. I think this season, the forced Iwobi hate has even reduced. You players that don't watch players enough that would just come and complain. I want to hear no Iwobi slander. He's been Nigeria's best midfielder arguably this season by far. He's a supreme footballer, and he shows up for Nigeria at all times when he's called up. This guy is going to reach 100. Out of every Nigerian player, nobody's going to get 100 caps as soon as Alex Iwobi. He already has over 80. So put respect on this man's name. I hate it will be abused so much. It really, really pisses me off. Very, very consistent player and a creative hub of the team. No doubt he deserves his place in the team, you know. Honorable mention, Krisanz Uche, of course, but he played different positions for Getafe as a secondary striker. So Alex Iwobi gets the nod for me. Right wing, Moses Simon. Yes, he plays the left winger, but I think with Lookman and Simon having to be forced into the team, we'll put Moses Simon to the right. Nobody in this team had as many assists as Moses Simon this season. Definitely the best player for Nantes in terms of goal contributions, as he is every single season. 10 assists and 8 goals. 10 assists and 8 goals for Nantes. This is a team that finished, was it 15th or 16th? He's the first Nigerian on record to ever get up to 10 assists in a top 5 league in Europe. Just a fantastic, phenomenal achievement for Moses Simon. He's also got 3 assists for Nigeria this season as well, and he deserves his place in the team. I've always been on record and said I want to see him play for a better team and see him push himself. I think Moses Simon is around 29 now, so he's got one more chance to make a big move. So let's see what happens, although he may just decide to stay at Nantes where he's literally the big fish, the Janla there. So watch out for that one. Left wing, I mean, there's no competition. Ademola Lookman, crowned African Footballer of the Year during this season. 15 goals and 5 assists in Serie A. 20 goal contributions literally in Serie A. Best season ever in terms of league performance. 5 goals and 1 assist in the Champions League. This is a big game, big time player. Say it again. 2 goals in AFCON qualification against Benin when we needed him. Beautiful assist from a free kick for Osimhen against Rwanda when we needed to win, and it's still our only win in World Cup qualification, 2-0. Responded very, very well to his manager criticizing him for missing a penalty against Club Brugge, as if it was his fault that his team was already down by 4 goals. And just a fantastic season for him, and it's very likely he'll be moving to a bigger club in the summer. So Ademola Lookman, Adebobo, shout out to you and all you do for Nigeria. You make us very, very proud and continue to shine and flourish. Striker of the season in the team, this is the easiest pick, Victor James Osimhen. I mean, what can we say? 41 goals for club and country this season. 36 goals for Galatasaray, the most by a foreign player for a club. 8 assists to boot as well. So 44 goal contributions in one season in Galatasaray. Some players don't get 44 goal contributions their entire career, and he's done it in one season there. He's got 5 goals for Nigeria this season, 2 in AFCON qualification, 3 in World Cup qualifiers. Literally, without Osimhen, there's no party this year in World Cup qualification. He scored pretty much all our goals this year in 2025. As far as the Nigerian national team is concerned, and we can't even blame him for that rubbish we saw against Zimbabwe. So shout out to you, Victor Osimhen. I mean, his season even started late because of the issues in Napoli, so he didn't even play until after the September international break. And yet, look at the numbers he's produced with 1 game to go. I mean, no other option but Osimhen. We have to give honourable mentions to Cyril Dessers, of course, finished the top goal scorer in the Scottish League, and also Tulare Kodari finished the joint top goal scorer in the Belgian First Division. But of course, when you look at what Victor Osimhen did, also winning the league and the cup double, still one of the premier strikers in world football, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing him play in the Premier League next season. So that's it in terms of the team of the season. Just to recap, goalkeeper Maduka Okoye, left back Bruno Yemachi, centre-back pairing of Calvin Bassey and Igor Ugbo, right-back Ola Aina, central midfield pairing Rafael Edika and Frank Oyeka, central attacking midfielder Alex Iwobi. The 2 wingers have gone for Ademola Lookman and Moses Simon, and star striker Victor James Osimhen. Just to round that up, the goalkeeper of the season, contenders Maduka Okoye and Stein Nwabali. Of course, the pick is Maduka Okoye, well deserved there. Defender of the season, I have to mention the players that I've put in the team of the season. So between Calvin Bassey, Bruno Yemachi, Ola Aina and Igor Ugbo, I think this one's a very easy pick. Ola Aina is the defender of the season. Phenomenal performance for club and country. And for once, I will soon reach a point where I can no longer call Nigeria Johnny Bravo syndrome, because our defense is shaping up and looking pretty good. We've got Calvin Bassey, solid for the next 5-6 years. We've got Ola Aina, a bit older, so maybe too old by 2030, but over the next 3-4 years, we have Ola Aina. That means we have the Ekong position, and if we could do something with Adarabayo, or even Ugbo can shine, maybe we'll get another centre-back that we can really trust. And of course, left-back with Felix Agu coming into the national team. We just have the makings of a particularly good defence. Let's see. You know, midfielder of the season, of course, the contenders Alex Wobi, Kristanz Uche, Rafael Edika, and Frank Onyeka. But my pick is Alex Wobi. What a consistent, amazing season he's had in the toughest league in the world, whether you like it or not. There was a time where 10th place in the Premier League never used to make 50 points. This season and the last 2 seasons, 10th position in the Premier League has got over 50 points. That just tells you how competitive the Premier League is. So don't let people deceive you that it's not to. It still is. By far, by far, you know. And of course, forward of the season, contenders, Lookman, Victor Osimhen, Moses Simon, Cyril Dessers, and Tolora Kudari. Forward of the season has to be Victor Osimhen. Others had fantastic seasons, but Osimhen almost has double of everybody's tally. You know, this is a player that has over 40 goals scored when you include his club, his country goals as well. His goals for Nigeria. Young player of the season, the contenders for me would have been Hafiz Ibrahim, Kristanz Uche, and Rafiu Durosimi. And the pick for me is Kristanz Uche. You know, when you break out in La Liga the way he's done, and La Liga is a league that's notoriously difficult for Nigerian players to succeed in. We usually don't have as many players in La Liga compared to Serie A or the Premier League or League One, for example, or even the Bundesliga. But for you to come in and play Bodela's ball, which is quite tough on the eye, but still get 4 goals and 6 assists, 10 goal contributions in your debut campaign in La Liga, and finally firmly establish yourself as a professional footballer in a top league and a difference maker for your side. I mean, got another assist in 5 games in Copa del Rey. So in reality, he had 11 goal contributions for Getafe. I mean, Kristanz Uche, just a wonderful season. Most improved player. Tolora Kudari gets my pick. You know, Ola I know could have been in there, Alex Wobi, Omar Sadiq. But Tolora Kudari went from scoring 12 goals last season to 21 this season, so I think he deserves that most improved player pick. The breakout player of the season for me has to be Kristanz Uche. You know, this time last year, I won't even pretend to you like I knew who Kristanz Uche was. And now, I'll be singing his name. I'm talking about him like he's the best thing since sliced bread. So, shout out to Kristanz Uche. Also, shout out to Rafiu Durosimi for the season he had for his team, Victoria Pilsen. Now, best international player, when we look at the national team, this season, considering August 2024 to May 2025, as at today, Nigeria have played 8 games. From those 8 games, we won 4 of those games, including the game that they handed us a 3-0 win over Libya. So we won 3 in reality, and we really played 7 games, boys, 8. Nigeria also drew 3 games. We drew to Rwanda and Benin, and also Zimbabwe in World Cup qualifiers. And we lost to Rwanda after we qualified for the AFCON, which will be taking place later this year in December. I mean, when you look at the way we played, you know, we beat Benin 3-0. Lookman scored twice, Osimhen scored. Then we drew 0-0 against Rwanda away. Then we beat Libya 1-0, courtesy of Saadili Bashiru scoring a goal with 10 minutes to go. Then we had the whole Libya debacle where we handed a 3-0 win. And then earlier this year, towards the end of last year, we saw Nigeria, after we'd qualified, draw 1-1 against Benin. Osimhen scored the equalizer in the 80th minute to seal our qualification. And then we had already qualified by the time we had to play Rwanda in Uyo. And Rwanda beat us 2-1, although Chukwueze scored a good goal for Nigeria in that game. This year, 2025, Nigeria have played 2 games. The 2-0 win over Rwanda in the World Cup qualifiers with Osimhen scoring a brace. And it's our only win of World Cup qualifiers so far. And then obviously the second game against Zimbabwe. These are the 2 games Eric Chelle has taken charge of. We drew 1-1 against Zimbabwe. Osimhen scored the goal and we thought he'd taken us out of jail again. But of course, we considered a very, very stupid goal to Zimbabwe in the last minute of the game. So I think this one is very, very simple. International Player of the Year. There's only 3 contenders as far as I'm concerned. Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, and Fisayo Bashiru. Fisayo Bashiru always comes clutch for Nigeria when we need him. Ademola Lookman and Osimhen are our 2 most important players, deliver for us every time. But when you look at all the goals from Osimhen, especially this year, where we've been struggling, Victor Osimhen has to be the International Player of the Year based on the national team. And it's safe to say that we're still very, very reliant on Osimhen alone. So, you know, we can't really complain. Hopefully he stays fit and he can help us in our World Cup qualifiers when they come again in September. Finally, performance of the season. Victor Osimhen's brace in the Turkish Cup final against Trabzonspor is one for me, and then also Victor Osimhen's brace against Rwanda in the World Cup qualifiers, as well as Ademola Lookman's brace against Benin in the AFCON qualifiers. And the winner for me has to be Victor Osimhen's brace against Rwanda. We went into that game having not won a single game in our World Cup qualifiers. We're feeling the pressure, new manager, some new members of the team. Going away to Rwanda, we'd never beaten Rwanda away before, and Osimhen just put the team on his back and scored 2 exceptional goals for Nigeria. You know, showing why he's our star player and our main man. Actually dragging us from the brink yet again. So we have to shout out Victor Osimhen for everything he does for Nigeria, and he has the performance of the season. Finally, overall best player of the season, contenders would be, of course, the goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and attacker of the year. So between Maduka Okoye, Ola Aino, Alex Iwobi, and Victor Osimhen. Also honorable mentions to Ademola Lookman and Moses Simon for the season they had. But this pick is very easy. Victor Osimhen has been Nigeria's best player this season of the 2024/2025 season. 40 games played, as I said, 36 goals scored, 8 assists as well for his club, and that's also minus the 5 goals he scored for the national team. So just exceptional all around. So that's it for this season in terms of the end of season awards. I hope you've enjoyed this category. Let me know your thoughts on some of the picks, or if there's any player I missed out that I should have mentioned glaringly. Obviously, we can't speak about everybody, but it's always exciting to celebrate our superstars. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop the video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeriano the ever carry last.